Pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum.
Hola, this is WIllie, not CM Punk. Welcome to another classic modern film review. Babes in Toyland, the Lego movie. What do they have in common? They're toy related. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing deep, nothing profound, just they only have toys in it. But they're still relatable. In this video, I'll start doing, instead of two separate videos about the same theme, I'll be putting the classic and modern reviews together in one video, and at times I might even just do one review from the themes that I picked. So from here, let's start with Babes in Toyland from 1986, a movie that came directly to VHS, and that's where it belongs. This movie is a remake from the 1934 version with comedic icons such as Oliver Hardy and Stan Laurel. There really wasn't much toy involved in it, and based on comedic standards of today, it doesn't hold up very well. But it was nice to see the slapsticks and this goofy duo with an epic climax in the end, that is if you can sit through the creepy Mickey Mouse. And speaking of Mickey, Disney would release its own musical version in 1961, and it was kind of different from the original. It had nice sets and colorful toys and a funny villain, but the songs just didn't do it for me. I felt like it dragged the movie from what was supposed to be important, and that was the toys, if it makes any sense. Then comes the 1986 version, and it only has one interesting element. The rest falls flat. Here it begins not in Toyland as in the other movies, but in Cincinnati with a much younger Drew Barrymore, and that's when they lose my interest. And the plot takes the direction to use recycled plots from The Wizard of Oz to have an excuse for her to go to Toyland. Clearly it's identical to Wizard of Oz. The villain in Cincinnati is the same villain in Toyland with the same actor. There's a love couple in Cincinnati, so as in Toyland with the same actors with a younger Keanu Reeves. And the other subplots that did not catch my attention. The villain wants to take control, Keanu Reeves is accused. The whole thing was unnecessary. I mean, what was the point for another Babes in Toyland? It's neither funny nor entertaining. Honestly, the other versions were not that great either, but at least they had some value of entertainment. The 1934 version had the two classic comedians, the 1961 version had the funny villain, not to mention a nice looking set. This version has not a single solitary thing of entertainment or any reason to be invested into the story. The songs are not good, the acting is wooden, not even younger Drew Barrymore or Keanu Reeves could save the movie. The only one that was decent enough was the Toy Maker, played by Pat Morita. Every time he was in, now I cared, I was now invested, and plus, the toy store did look okay, but when he was not in the screen, I did not care anymore. This whole movie should have been focused on the girl and the toy maker. Why couldn't they have her arrive to his toy shop and he show her the village? It would have been much better and much more interesting, especially with Pat Morita, instead of the other characters who are any bitty weedy interesting whatsoever. The characters are not funny, not even the villain was entertaining, and the place looked awful. Toyland is supposed to look colorful and nice, a place that you would wander in awe and revisit your childhood, something that Disney got right. Here, there is nothing charming about that place. The villagers are badly dressed up as animals. It almost seems something out of a badly cared ranch, not trying to offend anyone who owns a ranch. I guess this version exists only for the message in the end, which is not bad. It's a nice message, but first, I would have to care to get into the message, which in here, I didn't. For a moment, I thought they were trying to get into more depth with the villain, of how he struggled with the good and evil side of him, told by Master himself, Pat Morita, which made it sound like kind of dark but interesting to see at the same time. But in the end, the plot didn't care, and they moved on to other things, such as the epic climax from the 1934 version, or not so epic. Now, to be fair, I can't be too hard on this movie. Looking at it, you can tell it didn't have a big budget, and it only came out straight to VHS and hasn't gotten a DVD release yet. This movie wasn't supposed to be good to begin with, and when I first found it years ago on Reel's channel, when it was still good and was about movies, I thought it was a decent, harmless movie that kids could probably see. I don't know if they would get bored fast enough,
Besides, if there's something that this movie did good, was Joe Barrymore and Keanu Reeves became stars, not because of this movie. And also, did anybody notice they never say who's Babes? Why is it even called Babes in all the 3 movies? Why is it even mean? Well, I don't know, I don't wanna know, I don't care. For me, I hope not to wake up in this toyland of boredom. I give it 4 out of 10 stars.
Okay, enough of negativity and let's move on to the Lego movie. When you look at that trailer, tell me you didn't think this was gonna suck. Yeah. Very annoying.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool.
Going to this movie, we all knew this was gonna be bad. But to our surprise, this was actually better than expected. For a movie labeled from the beginning as corporate only to sell more toys, this took many by surprise for how funny, creative, and smart it was that many were angry that this movie wasn't nominated for Best Picture of the Year. But can you imagine? It's like complaining that the Smurfs or Alvin were not nominated for Best Movie of the Year.
The film takes place in the world of Lego, where everyone creates and builds their own inventions. But the villain of the movie, President Business, voiced by Will Ferrell, is not happy how everyone ruins his creation. So he built an evil device to glue everyone to immobility until the wizard, voiced by Morgan Freeman, prophesizes about the special one that's capable of building amazing things and will defeat the villain. Here the special is believed to be constructive worker, voiced by Chris Pratt, who is not remotely interesting to his other peers, but embarks into a new adventure. He meets girl, wizards, Batman, he fights villains, and discovers something new about himself. Chris Pratt's voice did annoy me at times, but I didn't fully hate him. He did have some funny lines and everyone here was great with their voices, from Will Ferrell, Morgan Freeman. The fact that you can tell that it was him, that's automatically gold. Wild Style was okay. To me, Unikitty was one of the funniest, alongside with Batman and Spaceman. Even Liam Neeson had some funny moments as the good and bad cop. They went to the full limit of how many Lego cameos they could do, from superheroes, celebrities, and many more, and they were all funny every time they showed up. What helped this movie a lot was that it knew it was a world with Lego toys, and through the concept of the story, it uses it to its advantage to create imaginative and creative places and objects. These Legos look impressive. I couldn't tell what was made up settings and what was computer animated, since the animation here looked like stop motion. The comedy is actually neat. Sometimes it even looked like something out of Robot Chicken, but not too adult oriented. They presented the cliches you would normally see in a kids movie and poke fun of it, or even at times the movie would make fun of itself. You know Batman is awesome, and they show it. You know they're going to end up together, and they keep bringing it up. Now, we've seen this story a million times before. It's the Luke Skywalker plot of some random guy who meets a group of rebel fighters that go against an evil man in power. But here they kind of updated it, taking the cliches and doing something new with it, such as the prophecy subplot or the main character lying until everyone discovers the truth in the end. They didn't shy away from making fun of other movies or other characters. It had jokes that kids and adults could enjoy and even laugh, like I did. I probably laughed more at their body movement than their jokes. Not saying that there weren't any good jokes, because they were. What I've heard from those who grew up playing with Legos, that the reason they felt related to this movie was because in the story, the first priority of a Lego person was to follow the instructions, but there were those rebelling and building whatever they wanted to build. And that's what many kids did. They built whatever they wanted and felt creative because they did these awesome things that now are being sold so that you can do the same thing. Personally, I cannot relate to this plot point because I didn't play too much with Legos when I was a kid. What I could relate to was the twist in the end, and without spoiling in it, it reminded me of how I used to play with my toys, imagining different worlds where the toys were living in their own lives and fighting their own wars. You know, like building up these amazing stories with your toys as a big adventure. And that's what this movie is. It's about looking back at our childhood and reminding ourselves how we used our imagination not just to play, but to build and create, something that is dying for many kids as time goes on. If I would have grown watching the Lego movie when I was a kid, I would have loved it a lot better for how colorful, creative, and humorous it was. It wasn't an effortless corporate sellout. This was a time-consuming effort to make a good Lego movie with a nice message in the end. What else can I say? But Lego movie's awesome. I give it 8 out of 10 stars.
And that's that. Those were my thoughts on the Lego movies and Babes in Toyland. If you have any recommendations that I could review, you can comment down below, and if you liked it, you can click like. If you didn't, dislike me all you want. So for now, that's it for today. Ciao.